We've got all of Andor now.
I think the whole storyline with Cyril Karn didn't need to be in there. He ended up being nobody, which so many characters ended up being nobody in this universe for me. He died during the Gorman massacre when he attempted to kill Andor. And even in Andor, it was kind of made a joke of it. Like, who are you?
Who are you?
He's nobody.
No, okay. I have to disagree. Cyril is the most tragic story. Just that last episode with him in it, you could see in his eyes that last second, like he was ready to switch. That whole season that he was on Gorman, he was looking into it. He was figuring out what was really happening. He was ready to switch sides, I think. And he would have been such an asset to the rebellion. Like, that is so tragic that at the very last second, he ends up saving Dedra, and then he just gets shot, and what could have been a beautiful character just has to stop. I cried at that part. It was very intense for me. So I was a big fan, although I didn't like his character whatsoever in season 1. He definitely came around for me season 2, because that all throughout the season, he was, like, what is happening, not just following orders, not that he did in the first season, but, before he was really dedicated to his cause. And now he's realizing that maybe that's not the right cause to be dedicated to. These people are not telling you the whole story. What is the whole story? He's trying to figure it out. And yeah, I thought that it was so tragic. So I have to disagree, but I'll let you keep going.
That's fine if you were emotionally touched by that. But this is my problem, is that he knew that his girlfriend was ISB, and he knew that he was doing a secret mission for her. So I don't know what he thought he was going to expect. So that's why that whole thing didn't work for me. And we never got to be introduced to Uncle Harlow. That turned out to be a nothing burger as well. The best set up character in the whole show, which was not the named character of the show, Luthen Rail, he essentially was nobody as well. They gave us a little bit of background story on him. Apparently, he acted as a father figure to Clea. He was a soldier fighting in a war, and he found her, and he decided, he was going to raise her and train her to be a terrorist, basically. It just kind of crystallized for me when I was watching the scene between Luthen and Clay, where it looks like they were on Naboo. Now, if guys, get in the comments if you think that I'm wrong about where they were, but it looked like Naboo to me. And, they were wearing their fancy clothes in a fancy restaurant, and, all of a sudden something blows up, and they're talking about his guilt over how he's turning her into something that maybe she shouldn't be. So the opulence, and I'm just like, okay, they were in that scene for 5-10 minutes. How much did it cost for them to travel over to Italy to shoot that? They spent on nearly $700 million for the show. I don't think that it was ultimately worth it. This was never Star Wars for me. It was always generic sci-fi. Yes, there was a lot of gold in the show, but for the money that was spent, and the time that you had to put in to actually watch the show, I don't think any of that was worth it. They won Emmys from this. That is clear. But it didn't make good Star Wars for me. I mean, the most Star Wars it was for me was in that episode 7 through 9. Where we actually got the Force discussed. For the first time, I believe. In the show. Yes, I know it was a little bit goofy the way that scene went, but, I actually felt touched because that's Star Wars to me when the Force is mentioned. My fandom for Star Wars is, those moments on Dagobah with Yoda and Luke, who are my favorite characters in the Star Wars universe. That was the closest that I got to feeling like the show was Star Wars. And of course, we were leading up to Rogue One, which I have to give them props. That's probably one of the best things that they've done, in Disney Star Wars. But just look at the time that was spent, look at the money that was spent. I don't necessarily feel like it was worth it. Do you feel like this all of this was worth it for you.
100%. I see what you're saying, but for me, this felt like Star Wars. They had all the politics and the scheming and working towards this goal and making sacrifices. Like, that felt so real to me. I mean, the money, yeah, it's a lot, but for me, I'm going to be rewatching this. Like, this was so good, and it felt like the heart of Star Wars and the heart of the rebellion. I couldn't get enough of it. And definitely episodes, like you said, 7 and 9 were incredible. But I think that all of Andor, for the most part, was really great, because even the parts that didn't seem like they meant something, I feel like they ended up doing so. For me, I'm very emotionally attached to the show at this point. And, you know, some people love it, some people hate it, but it probably doesn't have the viewership that it needs to. So that's unfortunate. But just from purely fan perspective, I was all in for this.